I'm going to get into the Word this morning, into a new series that I'll be preaching over the next few weeks. And I'm titling the series this, Come and See. Somebody say, come and see. Have you ever been telling someone, a friend or maybe a sibling, maybe you accomplished something that, man, you felt so good about, and you wanted them to know what you had done, maybe know what you had built, maybe know what you had fulfilled or what that success was, and you were telling them about it, and they're just looking at you like, right. Sure. They're just not convinced that what you're telling them is the truth. And so you just have to resort to them becoming a witness to it, and you just say, well, you got to come and see. You come check it out. Come look at what I have done. There are some moments that until you went and saw, you weren't convinced of what you were being told. And maybe you were surprised that, wow, they really were telling the truth. And now I see it. I cannot deny it. I cannot refute it. So it is in this story that we're going to get into today in the Gospel of John. If you would get your Bibles out and turn with me to the New Testament book of John, chapter 1. If you've never read the Bible, this is the book to start in, the book within the library of books. You can start in Genesis, and there's good stuff there, enough to keep you on your toes. You'll get to Exodus, and I'm telling you, it's wild and crazy in Exodus. There's some powerful stuff in there. And if you survive Exodus, you're going to get to Leviticus. And things are going to thicken up a bit for you. Your feet are going to get heavier as you're trying to walk through Leviticus. And if you don't tap out at Leviticus, you'll tap out in Numbers. And you're going to be like, I just can't read this thing called the Bible. It's too much. You got to take the Old Testament in bite-sized pieces. But if you're new to the Bible, go to the Gospel of John. I mean, Matthew's good, Mark's good, Luke's good. Sorry, guys, you guys are great. I mean, hey, you wrote some good stuff. It's for a purpose. But if you've never read the Bible, read John. It just kind of weaves together the Old and New covenants in such a beautiful way, and it'll just stir up your appetite for more of God's Word. John chapter 1. Verses 43 through 46 read like this. The next day, Jesus decided to go to Galilee. He found Philip and said to him, follow me. Jesus is on his recruitment mission. He's gathering his team of 12. These who would become the foundational apostles of this movement Jesus was beginning. Verse 44, now Philip was from Bethsaida, the city of Andrew and Peter. Philip found Nathanael and said to him, we have found him of whom Moses in the law and also the prophets wrote, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph. And Nathanael said to him, can anything good come out of Nazareth? And Philip said to him, come and see. Come and see. Today I want to preach to us on this subject. That's not possible. That's not possible. I want to talk to our doubts, our apprehensions. I want to speak to our preconceived ideas. I want to talk to our judgmentalism. I mean, I don't have any, but I'm sure you do. Two parts to this message today. The first thing I want us to take a deeper look on is this act of judgment from Nathanael. Perhaps we're both of these characters today. That is certainly my hope and desire. But I can safely say most all of us have been Nathanael. It is a human tendency to just make judgment calls based on appearance. What we see. That's all we have to go off of, is the visual experience. And Nathanael's reaction to Philip is this natural response to human judgment. We just look at it on the surface. Can anything good come out of Nazareth? Those aren't the words or the way it comes out of our mouth, because we're not thinking of until now Nazareth. But we have our doubts and we have our judgments. And so Nathanael, he totally assesses, he evaluates Nazareth based on what he's heard and what he has known. These preconceived ideas, this surface level knowledge that he has of Nazareth. This is often how people, of which we are people, it's often how we judge others. It's how we judge places. It's based on limited knowledge or based upon labels or stereotypes. We project what we've heard. We project what they know upon them. And we enter into moments and situations, meetings and relationships, jobs, schools and churches, and we have all of these filters that others have placed upon our eyes, or that have been placed upon ourselves by our own experiences. And this moment with Nathanael is a reminder that we need to be careful to judge prematurely. We need to seek deeper understanding. There was an Old Testament prophet who God spoke to in such an incredible moment, a man by the name of Samuel, who had been a voice to the people of God over the course of a number of years. He had been the one to anoint King Saul, or Saul to be king. God had a king in mind, but the people had something else in mind. And so the first anointing was from the people's desire, and Samuel anointed Saul, but the king God had in mind was a shepherd boy named David. So Samuel, just to save some time here today, I don't think there would be anybody opposed to that. Samuel goes to the house of Jesse, the father of all of these sons, and God has sent the prophet there to anoint the next king. And so they start with the eldest son, and they're working their way down through it. Anointed, or went to pray over one, is this the one? And God impresses no on the prophet's heart, and he's just starting to go through. And Samuel, he's a bit disillusioned here. What is going on, God? You called me here, and here are some of the firstborn. Here are these strong, stout young men. And in this Old Testament book of 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 7, the Lord said to Samuel, do not look on his appearance or on the height of his stature. He's looking at one of these brothers of David going, surely this is the one. I mean, he's tall, he's just built right. This is royal material. God says to the prophet, do not look on his appearance or on the height of his stature, because I have rejected him. For the Lord sees not as man sees. Man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. He sees what we don't see. It's our human nature to judge based on the past, based on past experiences or past traditions. And for Nathanael, Nazareth had this reputation. I mean, folks back then, they weren't booking Airbnbs in Nazareth. It wasn't the hot spot to take a weekend trip to. It was the place to avoid, to circumvent. It was the place to be from, not the place to be at. To be out of there, to move off and away from there. Especially in comparison to the holy city and others similar to it, Nazareth was just this town with a reputation less than desirable. And so Nathanael's statement here of can anything good, this exclamation with question, can anything good? You mean to tell me that the one Moses wrote about and the prophets wrote about, that the Messiah is coming from Nazareth? That's not possible. You've got to be kidding me. And so his comment, it's also a reflection of things we've said at times. It mirrors sentiment that you and I have had at times when we reject moments, we reject things, we reject places and people based upon history. And sometimes it's their history, but sometimes it's based on our history. And we project it on that, on them, on their. He may have expected the Messiah, just as others did, to come by way of palatial means. Somewhere prestigious. Like O'Fallon. But Nazareth? You got to be kidding me. But this demonstrates how these preconceived ideas and these hasty judgments based upon past experience or past tradition or past authority often limit us. And not only that, we as people, we can often underestimate what God can do from ordinary places. We limit Him to moments, places, and settings where we feel like this would be ideal for God to move. Like for a few days ago on Wednesday night when the crowd was thin and the weather was bad and it wasn't amazing, and I stood up here opening the service and I was like, in my mind, I'm like, sorry, Derek. Wish we had better for you, but this is what we got. Nothing against those that were here. You're good. Open mouth, insert foot. You know, it's one of those Wednesdays where you're like, I had higher expectations, but if we can just power through this hour, we'll just get home, warm up some food, and go to bed. It'll be all right. But in an ordinary evening, God did an extraordinary thing. But we often underestimate what God can do and often desires to do from the ordinary. Nathanael, you represent us well in this common mishap on our part, this fallacy of humanity that just underestimates the power of God to work through seemingly insignificant things, through the ordinary. The Messiah's coming by way of Nazareth was a disappointment. It was not meeting and exceeding expectations. It was dashing them, crushing them. The Messiah should be coming from some place of grandeur, with pomp and circumstance. But no, He, born in Bethlehem, raised and developed in this dusty little town of Nazareth. But it teaches us that God often chooses the humble, the overlooked, the ordinary for His extraordinary work. God did this with the cross. The cross was a common place for criminals, but an uncommon place for kings. Why would you do this there, God? Jesus told His disciples in the Gospel of John chapter 12 regarding His crucifixion that was coming, It was pending. He said in verse 32 and 33, "And I, when I am lifted up from the earth." He wasn't talking about being exalted by way of praise, though we've applied that verse to those settings of crescendos of shouting and praising and clapping. No, Jesus was saying, when I'm lifted up on the cross, when I am suspended between heaven and earth, when I am lifted up, I will draw all men unto myself, all people unto myself. He said this, verse 33 lets us know, to show by what kind of death He was going to die. When I'm lifted up, it's going to go against everything you thought possible. This does not look like unseating the Roman Empire and its king's throne. This does not look like domination. This looks like loss. What are you doing here? This is the most unexpected place for a victory to be accomplished. But just look around you at all the extraordinary stories because of that event in an unexpected place. So there's this act of judgment from Nathanael, but then there's this invitation from Philip. Philip says, "Come and see." It was an invitation to Nathanael to come experience something for himself. What we have heard, the voice we've responded to, the one we have seen from Nazareth. If you want to know if anything good can come out of Nazareth, you just come and see. You experience it for yourself. This instruction was an invitation. An invitation to step beyond the doubts, the labels, the judgment, and to personally experience truth. To personally experience this personification of grace and truth in this product of Nazareth. It's not always about defending a theological position. It's not always about debating to win, arguing to get others to bend to your idea and your view, but it's really got to be about inviting others to experience Jesus. This doesn't mean that it's wrong to engage in doctrinal discussions or even have hard conversations. That has its place, has its setting, has its purpose. Jesus and others that He raised up would interact with those in the synagogue and hear hard questions and answer them and engage them. Jesus will engage with you intellectually. But sometimes you're just going to have a moment where you experience Him personally. Where it goes from just book knowledge to heart knowledge. Where He becomes someone that you've more than just heard about or read about, but now He's someone you've come to know for yourself. And so Philip offers this opportunity to Nathanael to put it to the test. You want to know, can anything good come out of Nazareth? Come and see. And gave Nathanael a chance to put his judgment to the test. To see if this was possible. For those of us today, and the list is longer than I have, but perhaps you've had bad experiences with church. But don't dismiss them all. Come and see. Come and see what God can do for you. Perhaps there's distorted or biases in your views and perceptions about various positions and doctrines that has caused you to perhaps form a collective bias about groups of people. Some could look at Calvary and be like, "You're Spirit-filled and Spirit-led? Nah, bro, I'm out. Come and see. Just come and see. Oh, well, Calvary, you've changed, or you're not all of this, or you're not like them or like us. Come and see. You can form your opinions and you can have your preconceived notions and ideas, but I extend an invitation to just come and see. You won't find perfection in us, but what I believe you will experience is presence among us. The presence of God. He's not just here, but I'm grateful He is. And so whatever your past experiences have been, and whatever has caused walls to come up, I lob an invitation over all of that for you to have the opportunity to put those judgments to the test and give Jesus a chance. Here's the thing about faith that Philip extended to Nathanael is it really is a journey of exploring. It's a journey that's navigated from the Spirit of God and from His Word, but it's really about exploration. It's this hunger. It's about having a holy curiosity. Who is this Jesus? Philip, he does not try to convince or persuade Nathanael. Nathanael asked his testing, judging question with the weight of all of the labels and all of the attachments upon Nazareth and anyone that would come from there. Nathanael did not try to give some lengthy dissertation to persuade him away from his opinion. He just simply said, come and see. Why don't you explore this for yourself? Why don't you experience for yourself? Sometimes what is needed is not another conversation, it's just an invitation so that people can settle the issue for themselves. It provides them the opportunity to just approach Jesus on their own. To encounter for themselves Him. His glory, His healing, His wholeness, His love, His grace, His kindness. Faith is not about forcing someone to conform to how you see it, but it is about inviting them to experience for themselves a deeply personal and rich encounter with God. Why does it have to be personal? Because that's when it's most powerful. There is something powerful about a personal experience with Jesus. Oh, you can make it a while on somebody else's good faith and somebody else's good story, but at some point, it's got to become yours. At some point, it's got to get personal. It's got to get real. It's got to be more than just something that's in your head, though that matters. You got to make a decision, but it's got to be from your heart. You've got to settle it and have some conviction about it. He must become yours. Philip's invitation to come and see it, it points us to the value, to the essentiality of this becoming personal. Nathanael, we could sit down and we could talk about the conversations Jesus and I had, Philip could have said. Talk about their discussions and how Jesus maybe answered some of his questions, but no, my story and my experience isn't going to be sufficient. Nathanael, you need to come and see for yourself. Because those moments are transformative. They are truly life-changing. It's where mindsets, it's where preconceived judgment, it's where prejudice becomes replaced. Now with a deeper understanding and a revelation, because it got personal and you have experienced Jesus for yourself. It's no longer just a lesson taught, just a sermon preached, something that you heard, but now it becomes real because He is real to you. Come and see. Worship team, you can gather with me up here. Back to John chapter 1. John chapter 1, the next few verses after our opening text today say this. Jesus saw Nathanael coming. I love this because Nathanael was curious enough that he took Philip up on the challenge. Okay, I'm going to give this a chance. I'm going to check out what's going on. When you extend an invitation, you ought not be surprised when somebody takes you up on it. You ought to be encouraged knowing, now they're going to know that what they thought wasn't possible is very possible. You see, somebody thought you were impossible. Somebody thought your story was beyond healing. Somebody thought your relationships were beyond repair. Somebody thought your life was so devastated, there is no chance that it is ever going to result in anything good. Somebody thought your marriage would never make it. Somebody thought your kids would never come back. Somebody thought that addiction will never be apart from your life. It has become one with who you are. But if your testimony itself does not convince them, just invite them. Just come and see. Come meet the one who has made all of the difference. And so Jesus saw Nathanael coming toward him and said of him, "Behold, an Israelite indeed, in whom there is no deceit." Verse 38, Nathanael said to him, "How do you know me? We've never met. How do you know me?" Here's the beautiful part about Nathanael's story that is the part about every one of our stories today. Jesus answered him and said, "Before Philip called you, when you were under the fig tree, I saw you." So that before any of us ever saw Him, Jesus saw us. He saw us sitting where we were at, in our doubts, in our discouragements, in our apprehensions, in our brokenness, in our selfishness, in our pride, in our own world, in our own space, doing our own thing. Until Philip, whoever he or she might have been to you, it may not have been an actual person, it may have just been the voice of the Spirit of God, an impression in your heart. Driving a backhoe down South Walnut. And the Lord just says, "Come and see. Come and see." Know this, that Jesus saw you long before you ever saw Him. And His hunger for you was present before your hunger for Him ever arrived. Because He wants relationship. Nathanael answered him in verse 49, "Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel." Oh, what a contrast from "can anything good come out of Nazareth" to now you are the Son of God and you are the King of all of Israel. And that is simply where Jesus wants us to get to. To where we go from, that's not possible, to, my Lord and my God, my King. This is who Philip was talking about. And now it just got personal for Nathanael. And so I want to ask you, who have you judged in this life, in the world of faith, but ultimately Jesus? Have you judged Him hastily? Have you allowed past experiences or just some established bias that was perhaps somebody else's that got put upon you, that's held you back? I invite you to step out for deeper understanding and deeper knowledge of God. Perhaps you're here today and like Nathanael, it was perhaps past experiences. People from your past and their experiences that were never yours, but you remember what they talked about. And so God and church and Jesus, and none of this has ever maybe had much margin in your life, or maybe what He wants to do next has been limited because of how you saw things lived out in the past. And it's preventing you from seeing the good in something new or something unfamiliar. I invite you to come and see. I invite you to come experience the blessings and the goodness and the revelation that can come from unexpected places and unexpected moments, and from ordinary lives. I encourage those of you that are caught up in debate and dissertation to just stop and extend the invitation. To perhaps those that you're just frustrating yourself over, and your words aren't going to change them, but an invitation could, to come and experience Him. I challenge all of us to stir up a spirit of hunger. A hunger for Jesus, for the deeper things that He has to offer on this journey of faith. To step out in that faith exploration of Him and who He is, and allow Him to begin opening Himself and His truth up to you. Not this world's truth, not the gods of this earth and the spirits of darkness and all of the entanglements and enslavements of this life that want to entice you and try to draw you away with their temporary gratifications. But no, I invite you to come and see, and to hunger for the one who in Him there's no temporary gratification, but there is a soul satisfaction, a rest and a peace and a contentment that comes through Jesus. And lastly, I invite you to come and just experience for yourself a personal encounter with Jesus, so that you are His and He is yours. Come and see. Stand with me today. Some stuff to think about. And some of you may need more time than just the next few moments, and that's okay. But if there's anything in any of your hearts that is stirring towards more of Jesus, I would invite you to not dismiss these next few moments. Dinner's coming. And we won't hold you until it burns. Your food will be okay. But if we'll just take a few moments here this morning and say, Jesus, okay. Pastor Chad, I've heard you, I've listened to you. You almost convinced me, but I'm going to need to see it for myself. That's okay. Come and see, because in these next few moments, we have prayed and we have prepared this atmosphere for this moment. For you to come to know for yourself, so that you can replace every doubt and every question and every apprehension with, this is the Son of God, and this is my King, because it's who He wants to be to you today. So